What's up, y'all?
Yo, I have one of
The
those
shit.
pens that it's definitely matte ink in there, but it takes forever to start it up, and you gotta scratch it all over your paper before the ink comes out. And I finally just got it to work.
So it's an old ass pen.
Yo, I have a retraction to make from probably previous episodes.
What is it?
So I think in the past I've probably given the Mexican Coca-Cola like the nod as the best Coca-Cola out there ever.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I think I've given them credit before, but McDonald's Coca-Cola, way better.
The fountain shit, right?
The fountain shit from McDonald's is way better than the Mexican Coca-Cola. And I think in the past, I just want to correct myself. I want to be factually correct on here. In the past, I think I've given the shit in the bottle, like with the real sugar from Mexico, like the nod. But like a big ass Coca-Cola from McDonald's from the fountain on like a hot day, I don't think anything beats that shit.
Bro,
All their soda.
fountain soda is way better. I don't know why that is.
I don't know. That's a bold statement. I'm not gonna go that far to say fountain soda.
I will. I'll go that far. And now
Because
here.
I've had some suspect fountain soda.
So my first job ever, I worked at a golf range, a driving range.
Yeah.
It was in Nurshell. It was like an old ass business with a rickety ass shack from like 1920 or something.
Yep.
The guy had old golf balls, old mats, and he just was swimming in money. Like he used to print money at that place. Probably made millions from that place.
I mean, there's no maintenance. You just need to have.
Basically,
what do you need to do?
You need to like
cut the
pick
grass?
up the balls, grass, pick up the balls, which he would do all that.
Yeah.
And he would do all the repairs on the thing himself to go pick up the balls.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he would hire like a bunch of little kids. Like my first job, I was probably 14 or whatever, making $5.15 an hour back when that was the minimum wage.
Is that legit how much you made?
Yeah, I made $5.15 an hour.
Wow.
And one of the perks of working there was you got free fountain sodas because they had fountain sodas there.
Yeah.
That machine was probably never cleaned in the entire time it existed.
All fountain things.
It had some OD sugary syrup shit that you put in there to make the fountain sodas. And it was without a doubt the best sodas ever. They had like orange soda, some Sprite shit.
But I don't think McDonald's is even fountain. I think it's more that machine. Like, maybe it is fountain.
It's got to be.
It might
be fountain.
Because you know that machine I'm talking about that has like all the different flavors. Like you could do like vanilla, cherry, orange, Coca-Cola, mandarin.
But that counts as fountain, doesn't it?
I don't know, because fountain has like all those wires and crazy shit like under a bar with the filters and the syrup and all that stuff. But those machines, I think, is like, maybe it's a fountain, but I don't think it's technically a fountain. Or maybe it is. But whatever there is, they have the best one at McDonald's.
Well, that old school shit was even better than McDonald's. It was like the best fountain soda I've ever had in my life. It was so sweet and bubbly and perfect, and it probably cost like 5 cents to make. And
some were good. There are some spots that have really bad fountain sodas, though. So that's why I can't really give it the nod of the ultimate, because you know what you're going to get from McDonald's, and it's going to just be on point. It's going to be mad bubbly. It's going to be cold as shit. It's going to be mad syrupy. Whereas it's hit or miss with other fountain sodas to kind of anoint that shit as like, fountain sodas are better. So I think it goes McDonald's soda, Mexican soda, regular can, and then you can go to like fountains.
That's fair enough. I'm going to have to defer to your wisdom on this because I don't really have strong memories of all the times I've had fountain soda where I'm like sitting there analyzing it, comparing it to canned and shit.
Yeah. And
all I know is that one fountain was super banging.
Yeah. No, you could get a good, like a super, like, not to get on the topic of guns, but if you get like a good soda gun, that shit is like bubbly, fizzling, and like can fill up your glass really nice. But anyone who says that they don't drink soda has never tried a McDonald's like Coke on a hot day with just like their ice cubes are on point, their cup is on point, like their straw is perfectly like, it's not some plastic shit. No, it's not like one of the paper straws. It's got like a good thickness to it. It's got a good size. It fits in the cup well. They do it right with like the whole combo of their soda, and that's why they're so confident. They're like, our soda is going to be $1, and you can get whatever size you want.
An ice cold Coke on a hot day is just off the charts, man.
It's so good, especially if we bite into a burger or some nuggets, and then you just have that shit chilling right there. That's what I'm saying. Like, give someone who's never drank soda that shit, and they're gonna be like, I might have to do this more often.
Totally. So, you know what I realized? We never talked about on the podcast the fact that you just played basketball with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
I love how like you balled with Justin Bieber. You showed me the picture. You probably showed like Jed and Davina the picture or whatever.
Molly was hype. She usually doesn't get hype.
But you never even tweeted the picture, and you never even talked about the fact that you just played basketball with Justin Bieber.
Well, and it was like bad timing. Like I wasn't gonna tweet it out when all this shit was going on with like, you know.
You did it way before the shooting.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I was gonna let it breathe for a little bit and then maybe throw it up there. But like some of them that I throw up there, like kind of like some people are like, oh, that's cool. Other people are cool. Like I knew that one was a banger, so I wasn't gonna like shut down the internet with that shit right away. Like I was gonna let it breathe. And then eventually I'll post that shit. But then like all this shit started happening and I was like, fuck it. Like who gives a shit? Like I go through those phases of sometimes like who gives a shit. And also like other times like on my Instagram, I'll put a like picture of the girls or something like that. Or like throw a photo up there. But at the end of the day, like I look at other people's shit. And sometimes when they post something, I'm like, who gives a shit?
You're bugging. That's the most gangster shit in the world. Like,
but don't you see people's shit sometimes and you're
but
the same as me. You're like, who gives a shit?
Nah, but people's problem is they'll hype up some shit that 100% does not deserve to be hyped up. And they act like, you know, oh, I got some special shit here and it's never special.
I'm kayaking. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like I'm eating a bagel. Like, I don't give a fuck about your bagel or your kayak, you know, like, but you played basketball with Justin Bieber. That's so fucking random. And what makes it even more gangster is that you didn't post it and you didn't talk about it. That's like the G-est shit I've ever heard in my life. Like,
yeah, it was kind of cool.
Who plays basketball with Justin Bieber then doesn't even say shit about it or post about it? Like, that? What? Are you like, low-key, I might be getting replaced by Justin Bieber as your best friend, aren't I?
I mean, I went to his concert that night, and low-key, I'd never been to a concert.
Did you really?
Yeah. I went to
I thought he invited you and you didn't go. I didn't know that.
No, I went. I went to the concert. Yeah.
What?
I went with Molly, and to be honest, I've been to one concert in my life, and it was Billy Joel at Shea Stadium. It was his last concert at Shea Stadium. I think before they were like taking the stadium down or some shit like that. I got free tickets. I went with my sister Davina. I've never been to any other concert like in a crowd of people like standing, dancing. So I dead ass. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Like I didn't know what to expect at a concert. Like, do you sit down? Do you stand the whole time? Do you dance? Like, what do you do when you don't know a song type of shit? So like I had no idea. Have you ever been to a concert?
I don't think I ever have been.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but like, you know all the Justin Bieber songs. There's not gonna be a song you don't know.
No, right? I know. So that's what I'm saying. So I went to the concert, and that like he's got so many bangers, and even songs that like you didn't realize were his, are his, and you're like, oh, I know this song. This is a banger. So literally, you're like standing the whole time singing along.
Now, did you get to say like I'm on the list type shit?
Yeah, low key. Like there was
so gangster. That's like when we went. After we did Rogan's podcast, and
that was the ultimate, bro. Like,
I felt bad though because there's a whole long line of people, and we walked to the front like we're on Joe's list. Thank you very much.
We even got in, like they had taken people's cell phones away, and remember we're sitting like this open table right in the front, and dude escorts it right there. Well, we did that once before in LA too, which was kind of gangster. We went to the comedy club, and they were kind of giving us a hard time to get into the shit. And I was like, no, I didn't say anything. I think the guy was like, oh, go to the back of the line or some shit. I think we were standing in the back of the line, and you were like, man, like, fuck this. Like, Joe kind of invited us. So, like, I think you went up to the guy, or maybe you said it right in the beginning. I don't even remember.
I paused.
Joe, like, we're with Joe.
I paused for, like, moral reasons. I was like, I feel bad just hopping this line. But then after I thought about actually waiting on the line, I was like, we were told to just walk up and say, like, I'm on the list.
Yeah.
You know?
So then we go inside and the lady's like kind of like on some I work at the Comedy Store. Who the fuck are you? Like, I'm doing, like, don't talk to me type of shit. Like, go buy your tickets and just enter. So then she was like, hey, like, what? You're like, yeah, we're on Joe's list. And, like, she looks down and, like, sees our name in, like, Mitzi's, like, VIP suite. And then she kind of, like, had to give us some attention. Like, oh, shit. And then brought us to, like, the most exclusive seat in the Comedy Store.
This is so fucked up as I hear it. I feel bad.
And then, yeah, in Texas, the same type of shit happened. We went to like the front seat of the comedy club or whatever, and I took out my cell phone to take a picture, and someone behind was like, "Yo, how do you have your cell phone in here?" I was like, "I walked in with my cell phone." Like, supposedly they took everybody's cell phones and put it in those pouches so they couldn't record like the set or whatnot. And that was, and then after we're leaving, and he's like, "Oh, you guys should just come to the green room and like chill with us." So we're just there, posted, chilling, which was like, it's cool. It's super cool. And the same thing with Bieber is like, it's so cool in that moment, but also like, you're kind of like equals in that moment, you know, like you're all just chilling. Either we were drinking a beer, or I'm playing basketball with him, and it's kind of like, for everything that you've done in your life, like, all the countries, all the shit you've done, everybody who knows you, we're at the same spot.
We're just balling.
We're just like balling.
You could have. I want you to tell the whole story, but like, did you drop more points than Bieber? Like, tell me the whole shit.
Well, this was like probably still just like a week after I came out of the hospital with walking pneumonia. So like,
get your excuses in now.
Nah, I mean,
I'm just playing.
I had like a couple baskets. I missed a lot of layups, but my thing was like, I'm always decked out in like the freshest basketball gear, so I'll wear like my tights like underneath my shorts. I'll wear some like fly ass like basketball shoes, and like always like just like a Knicks shirt or something. So my first shot, I like got the ball, and so I was on the opposite team as him. I was gonna guard him, but my boy was like, he looked thirsty to guard him, and I was like, I'm not, whatever, you could guard him. But there was times where I got switched up on him, and he was pretty good. But my first shot, the other team was like, "Oh, he could shoot. He could shoot." And literally in my head, I'm like, "I can't shoot." So I think I missed. No, I think I made that first shot. So I still had them thinking I could like shoot. But then I started driving. I was like missing some layups and shit. But he was nice. We went up like 6-0 the first game. I think we played like 2 games. We won the first shit, and the second one we were up like 6-0. And I think we, like, as a team, it was 4-on-4. We kind of, like, without saying it, we're like, let's let them win, because, like, if he loses, it's going to be on some, like, he's going to be pissed off. He might have a bad show type of shit.
Oh, that's funny.
So they started coming back. They won. And, like, midway through the game, I, like, turned around and, like, I see his shirt was off. And I was like, whatever, you could do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you could have had your pants off, and it probably would have been the same shit, you know, like.
Nobody would have said anything.
No one would have said
Justin Bieber. Let him run around with his dick out. It's okay.
But nah, he was, I mean, there's not much to it. Like, he was cool. I was talking to him a little bit of, like, where his favorite, like, country was. I think he said Japan. But for who he is and, like, what he does and, like, just the shit he's been through and the experiences and shit, like, he was pretty down to earth. So he was, like, playing Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah, he was cool.
You actually liked him, and you got along with him?
Yeah, he was cool. He seemed, like, kind of normal. Like, you know, I think he had, like, some lady bring in like a change of clothes for him, because he did some like music video shit after. He was like hanging on the rim or something like that. But he was down to earth, man. Like it was cool. Like it really didn't hit me till later in the day when he was just on stage at the United Center, and like there's just mad fucking people there, like an insane amount of people.
Yeah.
Like for one guy, and I kind of was on some, like, we had really good seats. And there was this like big fan in front of us, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no big deal. I was just playing basketball with Justin Bieber earlier." And he was like, "I think I recognized you." And he pulled up some fan page, and I was on a fan page.
No shit.
For the picture that I had.
No shit. That's fucking crazy.
So I put it on Instagram. I just didn't put it on Twitter.
Are you like low key friends with Justin Bieber now? Like if he comes back, if he goes back to Chicago, is he gonna be like, "Yo, I want to play ball with those same people I played ball with"?
Maybe because like I think he really enjoyed himself. I think he like was on some like, we weren't groupies, we weren't, you know, hounding him. We were just chilling, playing ball. And so the same thing, why Rogan likes you and why I like you, why like anyone who knows you like you. Like we're not gonna hype some shit up. Like if you're cool, I'm gonna be cool, you know. And that's the same thing I say to people who like DM me some shit. Like, if you're cool, I'm gonna respond because who the fuck am I, you know? Like, but if you start sending mad shit and the link to some like guy, like making love to a tree or some shit, and I just gotta be like, what the fuck? Like, then that's weird, you know? Like, so I
But
think
it's
we
crazy
understand
because
like what's cool, like what's normal and what's not.
but the crazy thing is he's literally like a list celebrity.
Oh, like yeah, A1, like he's top, but
So he has to have a weird, because I feel it. I'm way below him. Like if he's A, I'm B, C, D, E, F. Like I'm F list, right?
you're on
But
the
like
scale though.
even for me, it's overwhelming, and I've had to unplug completely. You know what I'm saying? So for him, I can't imagine what it's like.
Well, that's why even after I was kind of like, I just can't comprehend like what like the life that this guy lives is like not
He
even
can't go anywhere
something.
without being noted. He can't go anywhere. Like
When
for
I left the
me,
gym,
it's the perfect level. Go ahead.
when I left the gym, it was probably about maybe 2 hours after he left, or 2 or 3 hours. There were girls waiting outside of the gym downstairs, like, "Hey, did you play basketball?" Like they found the location,
Oh my god.
went there, and asked us, like, "Hey, did you just play basketball with Justin Bieber?" Like, we were like, "Yeah." They're like, "How was he? Was he cool?" I was like, "How are you here?" Like,
Wow.
and
That's
that's
great.
like, you know, like that's to your
That's a
point.
random
Everywhere.
Tuesday. That's a random Tuesday for him.
He
Yeah.
had a TMZ video one time. I think he was like walking into his apartment or something like that, and there were people waiting outside, and he stopped and he was like, "Hey man, like I live here. Like it's kind of OD. Like, you know, like what are you doing?" And like that's the type of like just celebrity that dude is. So like
It's too
afterwards,
much.
I kind of was like, that's crazy. Just like, you know, the life he lives.
Hmm.
But again, in the moment when we were chilling with Rogan in the green room and all this shit, like I'm just like, we're just gonna be normal and say some shit that's normal and not like be groupies, because it's like at the end of the day, people always say this, like he pisses and shits, like he, you know, like he
He's
bangs his knee, that shit's gonna
Of
hurt.
course,
Like
of course. But he's even a different level than Rogan. I mean, maybe Rogan's caught up, you
I
know?
don't know. I feel like Rogan can still go somewhere and like,
That's what I'm saying. Like I think Bieber is the top of the top of the top list. Like he's recognizable anywhere.
there's nowhere he can't go. Yeah, he can't. I
Yeah.
mean, he walks
He
into McDonald's in fucking Nowheresville, North Dakota, and they know who he is. You know,
Yes,
like
exactly.
Joe
Yeah.
Rogan can maybe go to some shit in like
Montana.
Virginia, yeah, or like
Yeah.
Montana, you know, and someone just still take his order like he's just the guy.
Right, right, right. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's worldwide for this dude. He could go somewhere in like Venezuela or some shit, and the dude who owns the
Exactly.
market on the corner, if you say Justin Bieber, would know who he is.
So who else? So you played ball with Bieber and then he invited you to the concert, but he invited like everybody that you balled with?
Yeah,
Or
so
was it just a select few? What did he do?
well, at the end, there was we played 4-on-4. A couple of the people were his crew. So the people that
Mhm.
weren't his crew were probably like
You and how many
four,
people?
like 4 or 5 people.
Damn, that's so exclusive. Like you were
So
part of a tiny ass group, bro.
so he said to the like he kind of said to the gym like, "Hey, like you guys want to come to the concert tonight?" We are like, "Yeah, that'd be
And
dope."
low-key, that's actually really nice of him. That's really nice. Like he didn't have to do that.
A hundred
And
percent.
the fact that he even thought of that is a kind gesture. You know what I'm saying?
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. And like it like kind of like solidified that he enjoyed himself, which was cool, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, to put that together and be like, you guys want to, but it also is like, you got, imagine I was just like, nah, I don't really fuck like with your music. Like I'm like,
And then he would be like, "Can you be my friend?"
no, but low key, I was mad hype. But again, I had never been to a concert. I didn't know what to expect. And yo, it was wild. Like, oh, so yeah, he was just like, you guys want to come to the concert? He was like, get in touch with this dude. We got in touch with that dude and he didn't respond at all. I had to go through like another one of his security guards or something to get the tickets, but the dude he said to hit like didn't respond.
That's what's up.
But anyway, like the concert was fucking dope, man. Like he was a crazy ass good performer, which is like it was it was cool to see someone like at the same level as you balling and then see them in their element just
Right.
freaking their
Mm-hmm.
like it'd be one thing if someone met you on the street and like met you and was super cool. But then it'd be like so different if they were to like be in your studio, see you doing your shit. You know, I
Yeah.
think it takes it to another level of like, wow, like he's doing what he does, you know?
Yeah. That actually today I was hitting golf balls at the range, and some dude, he had hit some shots. Him and two people were there. They were hitting together, two like guys who were probably in their 20s, or somebody in his 20s, and the other guy was maybe 40 or something like that. And like I was hitting the mat behind them. They left, and then like 5 minutes later, the younger one came back and was like, "Hey man, such a big fan. I just wanted to let
for
you
real?
know. Yeah, my name's Christian. I really love your show. I started watching in 2019. You really changed, all my political views. I want to say thank you." And then he hit me with some shit that was the next level respect shit, where he was like, "I really hate how the algorithm on YouTube is fucking you, man." I was like, "You're a real one."
That's what's up. So he didn't
You're a
bother
real
you
one,
like
bro.
what? That's what's up. That he like kind of let you do your thing.
Yeah, he was such a nice guy, such a sweet guy, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm here relatively often, so if you pop in every now and then, it'd be nice to see you and stuff." So he was cool.
That's what's up. I mean, like, yeah, again, that's a normal fucking interaction. Like, that's how
Yeah, but
shit should work.
Crystal and I have talked about this. Our level is the perfect level, though, where most of the time you're not noticed, and if you
Yeah.
ever are, it's just somebody real quick walking up to you, being like, "I love your stuff. You're great.
Yeah.
Peace." And it's like, "Hey, thank you."
Yeah. Yeah.
Never happened where I got hate in person. The closest I got to hate, and it wasn't hate, it was actually positive, is when somebody, I think you were with me. We were at Politicon. We were watching the Jank versus Tucker Carlson shit live,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody behind us, it was this black guy in a MAGA hat, young black kid in a MAGA hat, and he was like, "Oh, you're Kyle? Psst, I don't hate you."
Oh, I think
And
I
he was
remember
wearing
that
a
shit.
MAGA hat, and I was like, "All right, thank you."
Yeah, I think I remember that shit. Do they still do Politicon? When I was on,
I don't know.
a
I don't
Vanguard
know.
dude asked, and I didn't know. I know they still did like the podcast
They
shit with
have
like Clay
podcasts and
Aiken.
shit. Yeah, but I don't know if they still. I don't know. Since COVID, I don't know if they've done any Politicon events. If they
I was
have, I
like,
certainly haven't heard about it.
yeah. That no one listens to them podcast shits because I don't
Yep.
know who the fucking sit down and listen to Clay Aiken talk about politics and
Yeah. Nah. Their appeal was, bringing in the new
yeah.
media people, having the debates, having the panels and shit. So I don't know if they have done more. I don't think they have, but maybe they'll bring it back at some point soon. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I mean, people probably like, well, I still don't know how he played basketball. Just me, like, I got connected to like his videographer or something like that, and there's this really cool gym in Chicago that like I know the guy who runs the gym. So I was like, I asked if they wanted to play ball. They had an extra day of his concert, and long story short, it led to like his security guard texting me and being like, "Yo, he wants to play," and then it just went down. So it was dope. It was a really cool experience, and one like some shit that I'll never forget, but also like some shit that I'll probably forget like eventually.
Well, I think it's probably likely that the next time he's in Chicago, he's gonna want to play ball. You
He
know.
might. I mean, we had a good ass run. It was good. It was like competitive, and it was like enough. There's like good runs where you're playing with people that like are your competition, where like you could
Mm-hmm.
still score, and then there's runs where it's like you're not. It's not even fun because some people are like just very very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was a perfect run where like everyone was like at equal level. Like a couple of us were like a little bit, like so. It was a real enjoyable run, and that shit was good. It was a cool ass time. The concert was dope, and he was down to earth, good people.
How many points did he drop?
He probably had like I think the game was 2-11. He probably had like 4 or 5 points or something like that.
Okay.
He did hit the game winner, which was good.
Was it layups or shots?
He had some shots. He had a jump shot, was solid.
Threes or no? Or did you
Yeah,
do
he
twos
shot a
and
couple
ones?
three. Yeah, he shot a couple threes. Yeah, he was good, but it was just funny because I had asked him like where like his favorite tour stop was, and he was like saying like Japan and like talking like all this shit, and meanwhile I'm thinking like I gotta like drive home an hour away to like the suburbs of Illinois and like change probably a shitty ass diaper and like wake up at 6 in the morning and check my emails and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, you love traveling too. So with him talking about all that, you're probably like, "Fuck, I wish I was you right now."
it's just crazy how like we're the same people, you know, like he's just better looking and his life is just so much different. And like I wouldn't even say better because I'm sure like he goes through struggles and shit like that, you know?
Yeah, there was a while where he was miserable.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he was like peeing in buckets and stuff too, I think, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah. He was
so
miserable for a hot minute.
like there was definitely some navigation through his like, you know, life that he had to figure out. Like I think he's super religious now.
He is, yeah.
But just the fact that his life is so different, like taking a helicopter to some shit or just flying on a private jet to like Netherlands and like just seeing the whole country compared to like me, who I'm like tired as fuck. I gotta go home. You know, I'm practically in Wisconsin, you know, like bugs in my house and shit like that. Like you know, like
in my house.
you know what I'm saying though? Like it's just the fact that like there's so like the fucking dynamics of lives people live.
Yeah.
It's just wild. And like you could kind of be like, yeah, but it's all you put it in perspective. If you're happy, you know, then you're fine. But like, nah, fuck that shit. Like if someone's traveling around going to all these different places and seeing all these different like shits, their life is kind of a little bit better than yours.
But some people, like, I don't even like travel though. Some people just don't like travel. You really like travel, so you aspire to that. But for me, traveling is like a nightmare. I hate it.
But do you not like travel, or do you not like all the extra shit around? Like if you had a private jet and you had somebody like packing your shit, and they were just like, Kyle, get on the jet and go to Morocco.
I still like that shit.
For real?
Yeah, I'm just not a travel guy. Like if I want to see a place, I could Google image search that bitch. Like I'm good. Just give me a TV. Give me a TV and some fucking these shits I just ate. Like I'll be chilling.
What are those? That looks like some like Japanese shit.
No, it's
oh, horrible.
Yeah, and it's sour belts. My CVS was OD rated, and this was like the only gummy shit left, and so I grabbed it.
I never even saw those. Those look like some shit that would like be exclusive.
No, they're pretty good, but they were like one of the few remaining shit, so that's not a good sign. It means maybe it's lower on you know the scale. But
I do get swayed by that in the supermarket when some shit is like missing a lot. I'm like, I gotta maybe try one of these shits.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll say something controversial about the Bieber shit. Like, I think there's a part of him, definitely when he was miserable for that, like, 3-year stretch or whatever. But there's definitely a part of him that is sort of jealous of normal people.
I think I see celebrities say that shit all the time. Like, they're like, oh, I wish I could just go back to when nobody knew me. And it's like, I don't think they really mean that shit.
Well, I mean, but so there's a bunch of little pieces of evidence, though, that point in that direction. Because, like you said, he got super religious. He fell in with this weird, like, Christian-like cult that was in Hollywood. And he went through that stretch where he was driving too fast in cars and popping pills and pissing in buckets and randomly cursing out Bill Clinton or some shit. Like, he went through that shit at that time. Maybe not now, but at that time, he probably did genuinely feel like, I just want to not have all this chaos. And I want to be able to walk down the street and not get noticed. And I want to just do a normal ass 9-to-5 job and be on some schedule shit. Like, so that's why, like, you see him when you played ball with him, there was like just a cool normal ass vibe because he wants that feeling of like normalcy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to be worshipped on some shit. He doesn't want to walk into a room and have
part of it.
8,000 girls screaming his name and shit. Like he would rather just sort of chill.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. But if you were to ask them if they'd trade it for like permanently back to nothingness, I think they would be like, nah, I like the shit I'm doing.
Yeah, certainly not now. So I mean, he seems happy now. So certainly not now for sure.
I still can't get past. I kind of feel like it's like how do you not like traveling? I mean, like it's so I don't know. I think it's so dope to just like go to some fucking crazy country.
I know
you. Yeah. I know, but like, I feel like if it's some like doing some shit in state and having to go like do something like I don't know, going to Jacksonville and having to do a show there or something like that sucks. But like going to like Colombia and riding horses and like going on some zip line shit and doing some like eating some banging
horses and fuck zip lines.
Oh, fuck horses, but zip lines are kind of cool.
Nah, fuck that. With my luck, that shit'll break when I'm using it. Yeah, I haven't updated it in 27 years, but no, for real. Like I'm not. So there's okay. You have a point. I'm overstating it. It's not that I don't like travel. It's that the travel I do like is very specific and very limited. So like thing number one, hate planes. Never liked planes, never will like planes. Hate the whole process, going to the airport, the whole shit. Don't feel safe in them shits, even though they are safe, et cetera, et cetera. So right off the bat, and like anything plane involved gets demoted down the list massively. So, but if you say you could travel by driving, or you could travel like in an RV type shit, I'm good. I'm game for that. But then that does sort of limit you because am I trying to go all the way to California in an RV? Nah, it's just too far, too much. Not
Same
really
with being in a car.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you could come up with a bunch of scenarios where I'd like traveling from point A to point B as long as I'm driving. But I've never been one. I don't get my happiness doesn't come from thrills. It doesn't come from like new experiences even. My happiness comes from doing the things that I like as much as I can and to the fullest of my ability. You know what I'm saying? And there's different people. Like there's some people who that sounds like torture. That sounds like the movie Groundhog Day where you wake up over and over and do the same day over and you're like, this is fucking miserable. I don't want to do this shit. But then there's some people, probably more introverted people, who hear that and they're like, well, that's what I like too. Whatever your thing is. It might be music. It might be a sport, whatever. Like,
but do you ever worry, or not worry, but do you ever think like I could find out some new shit that I'll really get passionate about? You know, like if you never played cards until you played cards,
right?
You started loving cards.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You always have to be open to the potential of a whole new thing that you like. Always. You can never shut that out, because as soon as you shut that out, you're saying I'm against growing as a person. And it's like, nah, you can't do that. Then you're dooming yourself to whatever you are right now forever. So yeah, nah, absolutely. Which is why you have to, as closed off as I am to most shit, you have to keep that door like 10% open on trying new shit.
So if you got invited to like some bowling party or some shit, you go.
Oh yeah, I could easily become obsessed with bowling.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so like the one, like the time the door opens for a new shit to do it, and then if that shit you like, then you keep doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like I'm like kind of at a love-hate with bowling, because like I kind of like it because I understand how to bowl, and like I could sometimes be really good at it, and then other times I could shoot like some shitty ass score, and I don't like. I'd have to like buy some fresh ass bowling shoes because I hate the shits they give you. I don't know enough research behind buying. Like I used to have my own ball, but it was definitely it didn't weigh enough for what I should have. I think I rolled like an 8-pound ball or a 10-pound ball. So the whole like the accessories for bowling kind of suck, because like some people put a wrist guard on. There's just a whole bunch of shit that like you don't know if you need or if you don't need. Whereas like other sports like basketball, it's like you just pick up a basketball.
Yeah, but if you did love bowling on some real shit, all those little intricacies and complexities of the game you would love to. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so.
So if you look at that as like an obstacle as opposed to part of the glory of it, then it's just not really like your shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to get into fucking roller skating. I feel like that shit could be dope, but I don't even know how to ice skate.
Dog, let me tell you, the other like 3 weeks ago, me and Crystal and the kids went to a river nearby.
And you roller skated on it?
No, but they had a spare scooter that I elongated the handle so it could be at its highest level, and it was still a little small for me, but it was enough where I was okay on it. And I scooted all the way down to that bitch. And
what
I was
kind
like,
of scooter? Like a razor?
Like old razor scooters? Yeah, it was like an old razor scooter. And I scootered all the way down to that bitch, and I was like, I forgot how fun scootering is.
So, was the majority of it your foot's on the shit, and your other foot is like scraping the ground, and then occasionally you pick it up to like go?
And I was on, blacktop, and it was kind of hilly, so I'd go downhill for a lot of it. And I was like, I forgot how fun
you gotta walk that shit?
No, you just push off the scooter and get as much as you can distance out of it, and then push again. It was so much easier than walking there. Like, it was just, you're gliding most of the way. And I was like, damn, I forgot how much fun scootering is. And that your comment made me think of that, because the other thing is, like, riding a bike.
Yeah, I mentioned riding a bike earlier, yeah.
I haven't done it in a hot minute, but like I should start doing that shit again, you know?
Riding a bike is something that I'm kind of intrigued by, but then I look at like Reggie Miller, and like he just looks mad skinny, and I feel like every biker turns into someone who looks like that shit. Like you kind of look unhealthy, skinny. So I don't want to pick up biking too much and ride one of those like skinny. Like I need a good bike. Like I've seen people riding bikes now. They have like those like thick ass tires, which kind of look a little gangster.
Mm-hmm.
But I never want to ride one of those like bikes that have like the skinny ass tires on them and like the handlebars that go out type
those
of
are the
shit.
speed bikes. Yeah, I hate those shits.
Like those shits I'm gonna stay away from.
I have a hybrid bike, which is a mix between a speed bike and a mountain bike.
Yeah, that
It's
sounds perfect.
Shit. Yeah, and that's what I have because I agree with you. The speed ones, I was like, no, I'm not.
That
trying
shit
to
just
have
looks on some like European week like you
little ass seat that goes up your butthole for no reason. Handlebars in an obnoxious ass place. It's
that's
the
like the
wheels in the world.
Molly got a Peloton bike, and it's like the ass shit is mad uncomfortable, and it was kind of like everybody knew the ass shit was uncomfortable. Like, so if you're talking to someone else who has the Peloton, they're kind of like, yeah, you got to get used to the ass shit. Like, it kind of hurts your butt when you do it. I'm like, why wouldn't they just make a comfy ass seat? Like, why does it have to be some banana ass like seat that like is mad hard and not cushiony? Like, the whole concept of biking is to sit. So you would think the sitting part is comfy and not some shit that you're like, my ass kind of feels uncomfortable on it. Like, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, it literally makes no sense on whoever designed the bike to be like, let's make the ass shit the most uncomfortable thing. So while they're riding this, they want to get off of it.
Totally. And I was looking up, I almost got an electric scooter the other night. We talked about it on the podcast, and I was like, I should actually look that up. I sort of want an electric one. And I looked it up, but they're all OD complicated, and that pissed me off. Like, every single one is operated by a fucking app. Like, you got to get an app, and, like, you use the app to start the shit, and they have, like, headlights on it, and they have all sorts of...
Yeah, that's what, like, just give me a start and stop
That's what I'm saying. They all require assembly and shit, and I'm like, I'm not assembling some shit. Like, send me some basic ass shit where I press a button and go. Like, what the fuck is the problem with it?
That shit sounds mad terrible.
That's what I'm saying. I couldn't find a single one that was on some simple shit. And that's what you reminded me of talking about the seat. Like, why wouldn't you just have some simple ass, cushy ass seat that's nice?
Some shit, like, there shouldn't even, so Molly was the one who wanted a Peloton, but for me, it was kind of like, you should ride this because it's like healthy and you'll get into it. But it really threw me off that the ass shit was mad uncomfortable. And they were like, if you keep doing it, it'll start to feel better. And it's like,
I'm not going through that phase. Yeah, exactly.
If you're trying to like convince me to do some shit, you kind of need to sweeten the deal and be like, nah, all right, here's an alternative seat that your ass, like, this shit is comfy.
Absolutely. You should get a normal bike. You should get a hybrid bike. And then if you want, you could just bike it around the neighborhood type shit.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna, because I used to have like I had a solid bike. I think it's actually still in New Rochelle, but like it had some gears on it and you could go around and it was just like a regular ass bike. And I enjoyed it, but I'm also kind of confused by the rules of biking. I think you go with traffic as opposed to like going against traffic because
you're supposed to go with traffic and listen to the street lights and shit and follow the street signs and whatnot.
Which to me sometimes I get a little tight about because I'm like, just go on the sidewalk because you're not going the same speed as my car.
Totally
so get the fuck out of my way.
Not. This isn't even a debatable one to me. You're sort of an asshole if you're riding a bike and you're like riding in the middle of the road.
Yeah, like if you're thinking you're a car but on a bike, and not like a motorcycle bike. Like and even a motorcycle, it's still like get the fuck out of my way because it's like you like you're changing lanes and they're like speeding by and.
Oh, I hate when they go in between the cars. Like fuck you, man. You could easily die.
I saw a sign that was just like, let's look out for motorcyclists. I'm like, and again, if someone knows someone that died on a motorcycle or some shit like that, I feel for you, whatever, but that shit is still mad unsafe. So like, maybe get a car. They have that sign. I'm like, no, kind of fuck them. They should look out for the cars. I shouldn't be looking for a fucking motorcycle.
Yeah, like
I'm driving my shit.
The thing about the bicycle is it shouldn't be on the road because you can't go the speed of a car. Like you're going way slower, so it's super obnoxious. Like just how there's a maximum speed limit, there should be a minimum speed limit. And if
It's
your ass is
almost
going
like
15 miles an hour on the bicycle, then get the fuck out of the way. For the motorcycle, I got no beef with them as long as they're not being total assholes. But most of the time, they are being assholes, and they're going in between cars and all sorts of crazy shit.
it's almost like my daughter has like, you know that like Fisher Pricey type of orange car with like the red door. It's almost like she would be allowed to be on the street shit.
Right.
Because
and they're like, as long as you follow the street lights, you're good. It's like, no, you're going 3 miles an hour on some Fred Flintstone shit.
What would you do if you like pulled up to a light and you just saw like car, Fisher Price ass shit
Price with the 3-year-old inside,
and the cop's like, "Yep, we gotta let them go." I mean, like they're abiding by the like street law. It's the same shit with the bike because like I'll pull up to a red light, and then some dude on a bike pulls up next to me, and I'm just like, just fucking go through the light or go around the shit, like go into the like walking lane, because you're not an equal to me right now. You're not in the same type of vehicle, and my shit is way more powerful than you, and you're fucking up the whole flow of like traffic. And if someone does hit you, you're gonna die. So like, don't be where you can potentially die.
They're super dangerous, man. Like the stats on it are fucking crazy. If you know somebody who owned a motorcycle or does own one, and they didn't get in an accident, they're lucky. Like the OD, those shits are like, Will owned a motorcycle for like 3 years, and then he sold that shit. He was like, it's too dangerous. He's like, it's crazy. Like you have no idea how dangerous this is.
I don't get how I could get a ticket for not wearing my seatbelt, but someone can straight be going 80 miles per hour next to me on a fucking motorcycle with just a helmet on and just like their t-shirt.
Yeah,
like how does that make sense? Like how the fuck does that make sense?
The thing is, like, you can't even really pull them over if you're a cop, because like your shit is way slower. They'll be out on your shit, you know?
I thought about that too. Like the other day I was driving in mad traffic and there was like a cop next to me in the trafficy thing, and a bike was kind of like going through the lanes doing its shit and like going kind of not fast but like just avoiding the traffic because they can go that. And I was like, damn, is that illegal? Because like he's still in the lane.
OD illegal.
But I was like, the cop has no way right now of even putting his lights on and
can't do shit.
Getting him.
Can't do shit. Nah, exactly. The other thing that pisses me off is and this happened a bunch recently. Like, I had my window down, and because it was a beautiful ass day, and I was in some traffic, so I was going like maybe 35 or whatever on the highway, and fucking truck comes by right at the time when the truck is making the most truck noise of all time, just on some like type shit.
That was a perfect
like, and I was listening to the radio and I just didn't hear anything on the radio, and I was like, fuck you. If I have my window down, like, the rule is you can't override my shit I'm listening to if it's on a reasonable ass volume level. And it was on a reasonable ass volume level. And then it happened even worse. I was in the Baltimore tunnel, and like, you know how, and this always happens with like some 20-year-old kid who thinks they're cool. They got like a decked out fucking like Civic or some shit.
Some weak ass car too.
OD, and they got the tinted windows, and they got some fake ass rims, and they got like all sorts of little tricked out shits, and they took the muffler off their shit, and he was in the Baltimore tunnel revving his shit in traffic and straight up almost popped my eardrums, dog. My window was down too, and it was just like I got hit with like a almost panic attack level noise. I was just like I was like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, they used to have those, and I mean, again, it's never on some fresh ass car, because if it is some fresh ass car, it's almost like the sound is more silent. Like it's more of
it's a deeper. It's like
a
deeper. Yeah, it
just
totally.
Like you know, like a smooth sound.
Yeah.
Whereas like like it's almost like your shit is more crusty if you're making some like loud ass weird sound, or like
OD.
Remember when the muffler on like Jimmy's car used to be like pew 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 pew
yes,
pew? Like,
yes.
It's like, how is that a good thing? like if my car made that sound, I'd bring it to the shop and be like, my
OD.
shit's making some sound like pew 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 pew.
Except neither one of us would bring it to the shop because we'd be too lazy, and we'd end up doing what I did in high school, where I was driving. Like by the time I took my little Chevy Cavalier into the shop, they were like,
"Oh yeah,
dog, you literally don't even have brake pads anymore.
I
like,
remember that.
Shit is straight metal on metal. It would just be
I
like,
told you that. We got in the car one time and you stopped. That shit made the worst sound, and I like on some sound that like we both knew it was happening, and like almost like you knew it was gonna happen, and it was like some sound where I couldn't even have been like maybe he didn't hear that, or like, well, let me just try it, like ignore that. It was on some like the car was almost speaking to us like, yo, you gotta you hear me, right? Like where I had to say like, yo, your shit sounds like it's like there's nothing underneath us right now.
and what was my response?
I think you were just like, yeah, I gotta get that shit checked or something like that. Or like,
yeah, I was like, I know.
I was like, that wasn't even like a you have to get it checked. That shit, that was like a
you had to get it checked a year ago.
Yeah, like that shit sounded like it broke 3 years ago, and you have just given up on like life.
Yeah, because like I would only take this shit in when like it was I needed to get an oil change or whatever, or I need to get an inspection. And so like I guess that shit happened only like 4 months after I had gotten that shit done, and I was like, I'm not fucking going back to that shit. Like I just went. So if there was a problem, they should have fucking fixed that shit then. And so I was like, I'm good. And then
they're all fucking scam artists at those fucking places anyway.
Dog, it got so much worse over time where it was just metal on metal. I had no brake pads left.
Well, if you let it go any further than when I had seen it, that shit would.
Nah, that was probably, it was about the max time.
I think it was. I maybe like a week later or some shit, I'd asked you like, yo, you brought that shit in. You're like, I think I have an appointment. I think like a week later, you're like, I have an appointment in a week or something like that. And I was even like, yo, that's what?
That's as good as it's gonna get, dog. That's as good as it's gonna get. Remember when we almost ran out of gas coming back from the poker spot?
That was bad.
City? Yeah, that was bad.
I've gotten to that point a little bit too, but I just brought not just brought, but I brought my car to a brand new Chevy Traverse. I brought that shit to the dealership to like check on the brakes because Molly was going on a road trip. And it got to the point where the guy had asked me like, oh, so what's wrong with it? And I was gonna try and make the sound that it was doing. And I was like, let me not even try to make the sound because like I'm sure they hear so many sounds and that doesn't help at all to them trying to fix whatever the fuck is going wrong. You know
what was the sound though?
I don't even know. Like because I was trying to think of a sound to make, but then also like I thought back to like when you're trying to remember a song that you type into Google or some shit.
Yep.
There's so many you could do like ba 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 ba, or it could be like la 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 la. Like you could start it with any type of shit.
Yeah.
As long as even if you have like the beats down, like if I'm trying to explain a song to you and it's like bum 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 bum. Like you can go off the beats, but that like ba or la or dun, 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 dun,
it's something else completely.
It's something. So whatever you type in, they're not gonna know. And me saying some shit to the guy.
Nah, he could have gotten it from the vibe of it. I think.
You think someone's successfully been to like a mechanic and they've been like, my shit's making like a sound, and the guy's like, oh, it's definitely your alternator then.
Yeah. Yes, I do think that.
I think there's been zero chance of that shit.
Nah, they're trained pros, bro. So this sort of happened the other day where I heard a song, like a newish song, and there was like a 2 or 3 second part of the song where I was like, they stole this beat. It's from a Mariah Carey song.
And did they?
And then off of that shit, I remembered like 3 of the lyrics in the Mariah Carey song. And I looked it up, and that I was right. And then I played it for Crystal, and she was like, oh, shit, because she heard it, too. It was let me tell everybody the song, and they could go verify my shit.
Yeah, the fact that you pieced that together and even, like, did that shit made you really want to be like, you could almost take it to the next level and, like, reach out to Mariah Carey's team and be like, they stole your shit, right?
I sort of was tempted to do that, bro. Because the song only ripped off like a little piece of it, but it was like a crucial ass part of the song. So the The name of the song that ripped it off is called She Don't Know Love. And there's a part of that shit where they steal a Mariah Carey song. I'm forgetting the Mariah Carey song right now, though.
She Don't Know Love sounds like some shit from like 1960 or something like that. It's not like, was it a hot song because of that verse?
It was sort of a good song. It was sort of a good song, the She Don't Know Love shit. But I think the Mariah Carey shit was a little bit better, though.
But you take out the Mariah Carey stolen verse, and it's not the same song. Like, he wouldn't have got a deal because of it, probably.
He could have freaked it without that little part of it. It was that good of a song, I'd say.
It's like when I used to plagiarize, and I would delete every sentence and leave the one banger of, like, the guy's name. It'd be like, all the shit that if they were to Google, is this shit a stolen essay? I would just leave, like, Frederick Douglass was cool. And like take out all the other shit. To think that like my sentence was on point, but that shit wasn't even close to it. Like.
Did you ever get knocked on that shit? On plagiarizing or no?
I think one time there might have been a teacher who knew like there was this website. I think you could type in a couple of the words, and it would bring up like I think everyone was going like SparkNotes was the shit. Like that was the Amazon of cheating back in the day. And I think some teachers were like tapped in on like, let me just look on SparkNotes, and if that shit looks like every paper I'm starting to receive, then I'm gonna fail motherfuckers. But for anybody to fit, like the fact that I'm going to SparkNotes and learning about the book should make me pass the class anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because technically I'm learning about the book. You know, like whether I read it or not, or if I go to SparkNotes like, to just give me the synopsis of the book. It's
like when people used to ask like. Can I read the Cliff Notes? And they'd be like, read the book and the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, like fuck
you. No, bitch. I would just read. I want to just read the Cliff Notes, but if you're telling me read the book and I have to read the book, then I'm not reading the fucking Cliff Notes with it. That's crazy.
Yeah, like, do I have to watch the whole Yankee game to at the end of the shit be like, yo, Kyle, what was the Yankee score? You're like Yankees 1-4-3. It's like, okay, tell me a little about it. You're like Aaron Judge hit 2 home runs. Like, okay, that's what's up. Like. I don't need to watch the whole shit. It's the same thing with a book. If I could get the whole if I could understand the book by some dude who read it and just saying like John met
like bullet points in this shit.
Danielle.
I've always been a bullet point thinker. Yeah.
And then at the end they got back together and like he also had magic powers and shit. Be like, oh, that's what's up. That sounds like a good ass book.
I remember when we paid Tiffany to do our economics project.
Yeah, she blessed.
Mr. Gurney was bugging. He was like, he wanted us to follow for the entire semester, like specific stocks or whatever.
Fuck that.
And we were like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And to this day, I do not regret the fact that Tiffany did my economics project for me.
No, yeah, she hooked it up. And I was trying to find, I knew it was on Facebook somewhere, the clip when we called Jim Cramer, but like, we had that exclusive.
You showed me that recently, didn't you? I know, you showed me it. You sent it to me recently.
Yeah, so maybe it's in our text thread or something, but it's on YouTube, and I was trying to find it. But yeah, Eitan Berkovich had the low key like code to get into like the direct line for Jim Cramer, so we didn't have to go like call just a generic hotline.
That's right. I remember. I was on it at least twice.
Yeah.
Because. What I would do for that class is he would always give you like an A for that. And so I just wouldn't do a lot of the work I was supposed to do. And then I'd be like, I'll just make up for it by calling in to Jim Cramer's show. He loved Jim Cramer, man. He fucking loved Jim Cramer.
Did he love Jim Cramer, or do you think he loved the fact that like his name was getting shouted out on his show every
That's a
single
good
time?
ass point. Yeah, you know? he probably liked that.
Because that's on some like narcissistic shit where it's just like you got to call the show and you got to say you're from my class. So it's like
he loved that shit.
You know,
he definitely loved that shit. Hold on one second, because my TV just started playing. I had it on pause and now it's loud and annoying the shit out of me. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna try and find that clip and tweet it out. But yeah, our teacher made us call into Jim Cramer, who I don't even know if he's still on the air, but I feel like that guy doesn't age. He kind of reminds me of like Bernie Sanders in a little way, where it's just like it doesn't seem like they're getting older, even though they're old as fuck. And that was probably like 20 years ago that we used to call into that show. And now I think if Jim Cramer's still on the air, I think he looks the same, and he's probably wearing the same T-shirts and shit that he's worn. Do you think Jim Cramer ages? Doesn't he look the same age?
He used to be fatter, and then he lost weight.
Oh,
but yeah, he doesn't look old for his age. Yo, fuck my TV. I was watching a Bobby Brown documentary before we did the podcast, and I paused it, and then it started playing after like whatever, an hour or something. Yeah. But then I went back and tried to pause it again, and it just wouldn't let me.
Yep. Sometimes you reach the max, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, but fuck you. I'm trying to watch that Bobby Brown documentary. That shit is fucked up. By the way, that documentary is fire, dog.
Bobby Brown. I don't give two shits about Bobby Brown, really.
That shit. Okay, so one of the things he did.
I know he did some crazy ass shit.
OD crazy. So he.
But there's people that like do crazy shit that you're kind of like, I don't give a like his shit. Like I know he's crazy.
OD crazy. So when he really popped off, he was with New Edition. They split up, and then he went solo. He was making so much money that if he saw somebody driving a car that he liked, he would just stop them and be like, "Let me buy your shit."
See, that type of shit is cool. They got those type of stories in there.
Yes, he's like, "I'll give you 50 grand cash right now to take your shit," and then they would sell it to him. And then he said, "Get this." So he would buy it straight cash, drive it around for a day, and then leave it at the airport and just not pick it up when he flew out. He would just give away 50 grand to drive a car for like a day or two. This motherfucker was crazy. There was another story where he was in the mall, and there was some girl who
sucked them off.
Was probably, but she was being treated like shit in this store, looking at earrings. So he bought the store, gave it to the girl, and then fired fired the dude who was treating her like shit.
Wait, was like, what? He bought the store?
He bought the store because he didn't like how this girl was being treated, and he was on some baller shit. He's like,
how is that even a thing?
Fuck this. He just bought the store in the mall, gave it to the woman, and then had her fire him, and was like, "That's what you get for treating her like shit."
That can't be true. There's like that's a true story.
Yes, well, at least they were talking about it. It's an A&E documentary. Like it's a legit ass documentary. You know,
he bought the store, so then the girl then like owned the store to fire the guy that was.
He also claims he was making so much money, and he was so fucking crazy. He was like, "I want to spend $1 million in a day," and he says he spent $1 million in a single day.
Damn. Yeah, that maybe I should watch that shit because that's on some like I like those type of stories.
He's crazy as fuck, and he was so famous that obviously later on he hooked up with Whitney Houston. So like the beginning of his life, and he was famous when he was like 16. He was fucking famous, and then when he got with Whitney Houston and everything that happened with them, and they were OD addicted to drugs. And it's good so far, but I'm not gonna be able to see the rest of it because my TV is telling me to go fuck myself.
I do that sometimes. I'll freeze it. And and then I'll go back maybe after half an hour when I can finally sit down and watch it, and then by mistake I'll like hit the channel button, and once you change the channel off of frozen shit, it picks it up on the new shit. So, and it's not like if you were to press record while you were 35 minutes frozen into it, it wouldn't pick up the shit prior. So like you were the fact that it started kind of fucked you.
Yeah, maybe I'll be able to get it on demand after, but
that shit's got to be on something if it's a documentary. But you said it's on A&E,
and it just premiered tonight.
Oh, so it's a wrap.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to say. And even if I can get it on demand, I got to fast forward to the exact place I was when I was.
Yeah, it might be on at like 3 a.m. If it just premiered tonight, that shit'll definitely be on.
They might run it back to back because they said that it's tonight and tomorrow is the full thing. It's like an hour or two tonight, an hour or two tomorrow.
Oh, 2-part. Yeah.
He's
still going kicking though, right? Like he's still good.
I don't know if he's performing much anymore. I don't think he is. He's kind of overweight and shit now, but Usher, he apparently inspired Usher. Like Usher wasn't just like a Michael Jackson fanboy. He was like OD Bobby Brown was the one he looked up to. And then when Usher was 13, he was like chilling with Bobby Brown, and they got video of that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that type of shit I like to hear. I mean, I think that Allen Iverson had the same type of things. Or like, I don't know if it was like maybe Antoine Walker or someone, but they had stories where he would go from city to city, like wearing crazy ass jewelry and outfits and like just be in the hotel with it. And then would just leave it. Like would just leave all his jewelry, leave all his like fresh ass clothes, just go to the next city, buy new shit and like do it all again.
Yeah, I know that they said that about Allen Iverson with his clothes. that he would never get his clothes. Yeah, he would never get his clothes like dry cleaned or go to the laundromat. He would just buy new clothes all the time. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Crazy. That's what's so crazy about those fucking like. That's what's wild. That it's just like it's the same human being as us, but the lives that they live is just something that I would never be able to like comprehend.
But what's interesting is in this Bobby Brown documentary, they were showing this scene is that as he was telling the story of the crazy shit that he did, he was like, damn, I wish I never spent that $1 million in a day. Like I could use that shit right now. He said the same shit about the cars too. He's like, man, I was so fucking stupid. And so like the wisdom.
I spent $20 at McDonald's and I was like, fuck, that's kind of a lot of money. Like I was regretting that shit.
Low key, that's a beast ass order.
It was kind of
20 DZACs.
This is where I get fucked up because sometimes at McDonald's they don't show you like their menu on the drive-thru is like a video. So like sometimes it shows you the shit you want to see, and then it'll like switch to some new special shit so you don't see what you're originally like ordering and the price. And there's all these different. They've got a 10-piece nugget is like $4.99. A 6-piece shit is like $2.49. So you got to start thinking about math. And then after when I ordered like $22 worth of shit, I was kind of like, I probably could have got something to consolidate this.
Yeah, you could have got the same amount of food for less money.
Yeah.
Yeah, McDonald's
also like
works like
that.
that.
Employee. Yeah, but they should have had someone that was like, you just got this, this, and this. If you get this shit, you'll be good with that.
What was your order? Hit me with your order.
I got 2 6-piece nuggets. The McDouble, like I got like the McBundle, which is a McDouble and a fry. And then I got a extra burger. I got a large fry and then 2 more small fries. So I got like 4 fries and I didn't even end up eating them shits.
That was all for you or not?
No, it was me, Scotty, and Nick's, but like they didn't really eat any of that shit.
They had fries and like one of the 6-piece nuggets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I probably would have been better off. I think they have like a 10-piece nugget meal with some fries and a drink.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in the drive-thru line and like you just see the menu switching, it's hard. Like when the bitch was like $22, I was like, God damn, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, well, it's crazy because I can tell the difference because I'm always in New York, DC, and Virginia. And the difference between New York and Virginia for McDonald's prices is crazy. Like, it's way cheaper in Virginia. Like, I'll get a whole ass order. In Virginia, I'll get a whole ass order, some McDonald's shit, and they'll be like, $7.52, drive up to the next window. And I'm like, that's what's up. Like, I just got enough food to be full, and it only costs $7? Like, what?
I feel like the prices are universal for, like, anything outside of an airport. When you go to an airport, it's OD. They get you. But I feel like they're, like, Virginia, New York, and North Dakota should all be the same price for McDonald's, no?
Nah, man, there's not as many jobs out there. Like, we're in rural-ass Virginia. Like, we're in the sticks. And so, like, not as many jobs out there, not as many people out there. It's definitely cheaper. It's definitely cheaper. The cost of living is just less out there.
Maybe. The dude who fucking cashed me out today, he looked like he was 7 years old. And I dead ass might have thought he was 7 just because jobs need people to work right now. Like the kid looked like he was 7.
Yeah,
like, I looked at him and I was just like, how are you working here? Or
this,
maybe I'm just getting older.
Nah, but this is a good conversation too, though, because Crystal's oldest daughter like wants to work, but she's still young, and so it's like, well, should she be allowed to work? And it's a tough one because we have all these different lines for all this different shit, and I feel like to say you can work is sort of contradictory if you also turn around and say you can't vote, you can't buy a lotto ticket, you can't drive a car. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the messiness of like how the numbers all over the place is 21 for some shit, 18 for other shit, 16 for other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That just strikes me as weird. And to have working be at the lowest number, which I think it is. Let me look it up. What's the youngest age you can work? I think it varies state to state.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It kind of should just be at the discretion of like the employer. Like if I know my 6-year-old daughter can run the cat, you don't think so?
No, hell no, because that's how you get child labor and it's exploitative because a kid can't say no. A kid can't say no. So it's like if you tell a kid to do X, Y, or Z, they'll be like, I got to do X, Y, or Z. And you can just make them like slaves.
Nah, but if you're like 11 and you're coming in for a job and like the parents are cool with the kid working.
Well, so they do have an exception under child labor laws, which is a kid could work for like a family business. But
Oh, is
that's
that
the
a real
only
thing?
Yeah, but that's like one of the only exceptions or one of the few exceptions. So I just looked it up. The youngest you can work is 14 years old.
I think
But
that
like,
kid was 14 at McDonald's.
yeah, but that's what I'm against. I was
That's too young.
but some companies don't are still like, no, we don't hire 14-year-olds. They say, oh, you got to be 16 or some shit to work
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
even though the law says 14 minimum.
14 to me sounds young, and I just made the point that like a 6-year-old could be working at the front desk. But also, like, it should be the employer's like, obviously, you have to respect, like, they can't work crazy amount of hours, and like, you obviously, like, that should be a law, like child labor shit. But if some 9-year-old wants to come in and work and start making money, why the fuck can't he do that, or she?
The only shit that they could do is like some family shit. Like before I was able to work, if my dad wanted me to wash the car and give me $10 or some shit back in the day, that's allowed. But outside of anything like that, you can't be like an official employee
If
of
there
some
was a
shit.
9-year-old girl at Dick's Sporting Goods and she knew where all the shit was, she couldn't be like, yeah,
No,
all the
nope,
golf stuff's in aisle 17.
no, she can't do that. She can't work there because if you're actually working somewhere, think about it. You are an employee. You have to file for your taxes and shit. Like, it's a whole thing. It's not as simple as like, you're thinking about it in a way
Here's
like,
$5.
yeah, you're thinking of it on like, nobody's gonna go knock a 7-year-old's lemonade stand and say you're not allowed to do this. Like, they're allowed to do that shit. But what they're talking about is some official ass shit where it's too young. Like that, and that's annoying
I guess the
because
taxes and stuff make it a little
yeah,
like cloudy.
if you're saying at 14 years old you can work, but like you can't drink or smoke a cigarette until 18 in some places, 21 for drinking, it's like you can't have that discrepancy. You know what I'm saying? You can't have like you can go work, but then you can't do this other shit. I just don't like that. It doesn't make sense to me, you know?
Yeah, well, someone posted some wild shit that was HBO, I think did a while ago, where they were following this kid who was mad young. And he tried to do all that stuff. Like, he tried to buy cigarettes, he tried to buy beer, and then the whole thing was like he went to a rifle show or something and bought like a gun, and wasn't carded or anything, but everything else he tried to, like, yeah, like renting a car, they say is like 25 and mad difficult to do. Like, you got to show your insurance and do all the,
You got to be
like,
25 to rent a car? I didn't even know that.
you got to be like 25 to rent a car, and it's mad. You got to show mad paperwork, and it's
Wow.
fucking like impossible.
Wow.
But yeah, the other stuff is like, yeah, 16 or 17 or 14 to work. It's like, yeah, you got to be consistent across the board. But I'm still kind of leaning to like, if someone's 10 and wants to work at like fucking Foot Locker and sell some sneakers, like, let them work.
Nah, let kids be kids, man. Like that, they're gonna have to work for the rest of their fucking lives once they hit a certain age. It's like, let them be kids when they're kids, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You started working young too, so you're biased. But I started working young too.
Yeah.
I started working young too. I did. By the way, to your point before, this was a good tweet I saw yesterday. Somebody said, I can't have mint or mango jewel pods because the government claimed they were marketed to teens, but a kid can buy an assault rifle at the age of 18 or whatever it was that he bought.
Yeah.
It. That's fucking crazy, man. That's a crazy discrepancy right there. That makes no goddamn sense. That makes no goddamn sense. Did you see that mass shooter? There's a video
I saw
of him
something you posted. He did something with cats or some shit.
Holding a bag of dead cats. There's that shit, and then there was a bunch of people who came out and were like, yeah, we called him school shooter because he gave us school shooter vibes. This motherfucker was telling people on Facebook and telling people on Instagram, like, I'm going to go shoot up a school. And it's like, he was legally allowed to get a gun? How the fuck? Like, so let me get this straight. A background check is only looking for, like, past criminal convictions. It's not looking at, like, their history, posting shit on social media. Like, it needs to be way more comprehensive. That's why they're talking about like red flag laws, where if somebody's off, like mentally off, then there should be a process where it's like, all right, we're taking your fucking guns from you right now because you're off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's some people, Republican politicians are like, I don't know, man, that sounds extreme. What? what's extreme is any rando 18-year-old getting a gun when they're posting shit like, I'm gonna shoot everybody on July 8th.
Yeah, that I haven't like done too much. Like that was the first picture I saw. The kid was the tweet holding the cat bag or whatever. But like, it seems like people are turning on the police department out there now, right? No, I know, no, it was mad fucked up. But at first they kind of were giving them the benefit of the doubt. But now even I think conservatives are like, kind of getting at them because I think, are they like kind of? I mean, rightfully so. The police department fucked up out there, but are they like? Is there any like reason to them piling on them? Because I think conservatives would always like back the police department, right?
Well, the reason why the Texas governor, who's a Republican, is turning on the police is because he's trying to save his ass politically. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I'm sure because he came out there and gave the statements in the aftermath, and everything he said ended up not being true because he was listening to the police department, and so now he looks like an idiot. So he went out there and was like, I was misled too. I'm really pissed off. I'm livid about this. So he's trying to save his ass politically, but low key, everybody is pissed off. Like
they're lying, and it's like a fucking mess.
There's a Texas Ranger who reached out to Breaking
Chuck Norris.
Points. Yes, Chuck Norris reached out to Breaking Points, and
he's a Walker Texas Ranger.
They didn't follow any of the procedures that they were supposed to follow the entire time. Like they didn't do a single thing right. The cops. I mean, they literally sat outside for an hour as the shit was going on.
Someone tweeted like the actual active shooter like requirements and list of what you do, and literally did none of the stuff that they'd said, like the training for it.
None of it. They did none of it. I mean, could you imagine sitting outside for an hour while their kids calling 911 inside bleeding out?
I can't.
More of them could have fucking survived if they act quicker.
Yeah.
It took a fucking border patrol agent to go in there to shoot the kid. It wasn't even the cops.
And I don't get how they have all this SWAT stuff that could break down a door. Like you see these videos of them breaking down doors at just people's cribs, but a classroom door, they couldn't just like.
Well, they had the key to unlock it. The Customs and Border Patrol agent got an employee of the school to unlock it.
But even those like big ass diesel steel things they have to just push the door in, like there's other ways to open a door than waiting for like a locksmith to come
do some shit. First of all, they didn't even need to wait because they had the keys and some.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
but even if they didn't, knock it down. Do some
key or no key.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, if you give a random group of people like, hey, here's a gun. There's a guy in there shooting elementary school kids. Even with no training, people would bum rush that shit.
Yep.
Immediately. These motherfuckers didn't. They should all be fired. They should all be charged, man, with some negligence type shit. They need time behind bars. These motherfuckers are the worst.
Do you think anything plays into it that like is their police department like a majority Hispanic? That like the conservatives are probably like, oh, we could pile on that shit too because like we don't like.
Because they're Hispanic? Nah,
yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with that. I mean, they were trying to say there was like a 4chan rumor that the guy who did the shooting was a lefty and he was transgender and he was an illegal immigrant, and none of that shit was true. And there was
sounds like a stretch.
There was a Republican congressman who posted about it too, and then he had to delete it because none of it was true. He's not an undocumented immigrant, he's not a lefty, and he's not trans. Like, they just go back to their well of the same shit. I mean, I covered stories, Republican politician blamed like wokeness for the shooting. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're one-trick ponies. They just go back to saying the same shit, I
saw a video. I retweeted it. It was is it the Bad Liars or something like that? But I started looking at their Instagram page. They are funny, man. Like, they go to these rallies.
That was hilarious, the thing they did with Wayne LaPierre.
Yes.
Where they were like, they're saying you're doing nothing, but you've done thoughts and you've done prayers. And you've done thoughts and you've done prayers. And then a bunch of people clapping.
Yeah, they show the audience.
Because he was genius with how he started it. He was like the lying left-wing media. And after that, it didn't matter what the fuck he said, because everybody in that room would be like, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, the fact that those people could sit up there at the front of like that like panel and they know they don't give a shit about any of these people who are talking to them. Like they're all like just lowlives with guns and like just freaking majority. Well, all of them are just weirdos and like they're so different from these people, and they have to sit there and pretend like they're one of them. that they're not like these elitist people who are at like these crazy parties and shit like that.
Crystal's dad is a lifelong gun owner, NRA member, and everything. And we talked to him in the wake of this shooting, and he changed his opinions on a bunch of shit. He was like, I used to think, you should be able to go get a semi-automatic weapon, but now I'm changing my mind on that. And he said, I mean, they need to have better testing and better standards and shit. And this guy is a lifelong NRA member.
I mean, it's just common sense. I mean, like if you're
Yes.
like, I'm not the brightest person, but like, and someone said is like, it's not like they're gonna have a day where you have to like everyone goes and gives back all their guns. Like they're not taking guns, but I don't even know what the NRA is. Like, do you get a magazine every month? Like, like you pay monthly to be in the NRA?
It's National Rifle Association, and yeah, you pay your dues, and there's a whole bunch of shit that goes along with it. I'm sure you probably do get magazines, and there's events, and you can go to the events, and you're part of an email list. I'm sure there's a bunch of shit, but there was a big lawsuit around the NRA, and I think it was in New York about how they were spending all the funds in a fucked up way or whatever.
Sure.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
That's how this shit always works. So anyway, the fact that he changed his mind was, to me, that was an awesome sign. It was like, oh, if he's moving on this shit, everybody's moving on this shit. And lo and behold, the polls came out, and it's even assault weapons ban is 63% now, which is the highest I've ever seen it. And then background checks is 90%, and high capacity magazine ban is probably 70 something percent. And yeah, the basic shit. To your point though, like people, you're right that nobody's going to go confiscate guns, but the sad reality is, and I don't even necessarily support this, but the sad reality is the only way you actually stop all of the shootings is to not only ban guns, but do a gun buyback program where you confiscate all the ones that are out there. Because like Japan has like no guns and they have 9 gun deaths a year. Australia implemented super tough gun laws after a mass shooting they had in the 1990s, and now they have like 100 gun deaths a year or whatever the fuck. We have 39,000 gun deaths a year. So It is true. Like it is actually the case that the only way you really nearly eliminate the shootings is to take all the guns away, but we're never going to do that. So then the question is like, okay, well then should we do some regulations to maybe cut that number of deaths in half? Like, Can we get it from 39,000 to like 16,000? Maybe. Might as well try, especially because it's just minimal shit we're talking about here.
My sister's a fan of Sagar, but she'll always like text me just like she gets upset because he kind of is like dumb on the gun situation, right? Like, doesn't he not want us to even do anything? And she's like, you got to at least do some shit.
So I haven't watched any of Crystal and Sagar's shit on guns, but judging by the titles of the videos that I've seen and some little things here and there that Crystal's told me, yes, he's very conservative on guns. He did some monologue, I think, today about like the racist history of gun laws in the U.S. And it's like, okay, that's probably true. It probably is true that a lot of the gun laws were originally because they didn't want black people to have guns or whatever.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But that's not an argument against having broad, universal policies now that apply to everybody that would reasonably limit firearms, Yeah, and again, I'm not a gun confiscation person. I'm not a ban guns person. I'm fine with people having. I mean, shit. I have a gun. You know, like so. I'm not against it.
Your father was a hunter. Yeah.
My dad was a hunter. He had a bunch of guns. So like, I'm not against guns. But am I in favor of, number 1, universal background checks? Yes. Number 2, red flag laws? Yes. Number 3, high capacity magazine ban? Yes. And what am I missing? I'm missing 1. Number 4. New, like a better, stricter testing and permitting and training system. Yes. Like those things I feel like are really inarguable, but some people try to argue it. I don't know exactly what his position is, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like she'll write that shit.
It's certainly more conservative than what I just said right now. Because I know Crystal's position is roughly where I am. And so if he's not agreeing with Crystal, then that means he's to the right of us on that, which it just doesn't make sense. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think like people are still gonna, if someone wants to do some bad shit, they'll get whatever they want to do it. But having something to make it harder to
make it harder and limit the number. You know what I'm saying? Like there's gonna be fewer deaths if you make it harder. That's just how it is. So yeah, it seems to me like a pretty clear-cut issue in some respects. But
I want to ask your thoughts on this because I'm very do you like flan?
I don't know if I've ever had it.
Yeah, me too. But the name scares me, and I don't. It shouldn't be the right name for like the type of dessert because that shit just sounds like spam. But yeah, no, I think I gotta try it, but I'm also scared to try it. But not hopefully. I think someone wrote it's like a Mexican dessert and they put mad sugar in it. So like in theory it should taste good, but I don't think I've ever tried it before because I think the texture looks weird.
It's like a Jello-y texture,
it's like
right?
a Jello-y type of shit, I think.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Jello?
I'm in on Jello.
Yeah, see, I'm just agnostic on Jello. It's just basic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I don't go out of my way to buy it or really like seek
if
it.
there's no other option, fine, I'll have the Jello. But I'm never gonna pick the Jello. But low key, if you put some whipped cream on that bitch, then you might be having a conversation about Jello in a category that's above just neutral. You know?
If it was above just neutral, it'd be like right above neutral with some whipped cream on it. But like,
right. Mm-hmm.
I still, when they have, because Chinese buffets are fucking sometimes on point. They'll always have some Jello shit in the dessert area next to like the little cookies. I still don't ever go for it.
Nah.
There's never a time where like someone's like, I got Jello for dessert, and I'm like, yeah, why not? It's gotta. I don't know how I would have Jello. Is kind of like what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. But I have controversial chips takes. Like, I don't know if you ever watched any of my ranking videos. I was dropping a whole bunch of rankings videos like a month ago or so.
I watched.
One of them.
I think I watched.
Fast
did
food
you do
shit?
cereal?
I did do cereal. Yeah,
I might have seen cereal. Yeah.
My most controversial one probably was
my. Oh, and I saw fast food.
Yeah, my most controversial one was probably chips. Because people were like, you just have like an old man ass fucking flavor on chips. Because I'm not a big Doritos guy. I'm just not. I'm not a big Cheetos guy. I'm just not. I don't fuck with it.
You're just like a Lay's, the yellow bag type of shit?
No, I'm more of a Ruffle. I like Ruffles more than Lays. I
definitely like Ruffles way better than Lay's.
Yup, but my favorite is probably like cheddar and sour cream in this bitch.
But too much of that, you get a headache.
Nah, not me, man. I could munch on that shit all day. Sour cream and onion. I know that's not your shit. I love that shit.
I fuck with sour cream and onion.
Oh, okay. So like,
but my palate is kind of my palate is. I don't even know if this was on your tier, but there's this bag of chips. It's a purple bag, and the flavor is like Maui and onion or some shit. This shit fucking slaps. It's so good.
I've never had it.
It's like a kettley. It's like a Cape Cod type of chip. Mm-hmm, so like it's like that like texture that's kind of like gritty. Mm-hmm. And that shit is like, I think it's Maui and onion or something.
Who makes it?
I couldn't even tell you. I'm gonna look it up because I want to give them props because they freaked it.
I gotta try that shit. White cheddar popcorn is.
Oh yeah, that's up there.
OD up there. Like, I look at it and I think this shit is probably not going to be that good. Then I eat it and I'm like, it's fucking delicious.
Fuck, I'm gonna find it.
And low key, even like traditional ass Fritos have made a comeback to me. Like, as I get older, some regular ass Fritos hit the spot sometimes.
Regular ass Fritos? Yeah. I found it. So I'm gonna give this shit, bro. Deep River Snacks. Because we give a chip. Like, that's their slogan. Like, we give a shit.
The hoodest ass chip.
No, right? It's not. They're official. Sweet Maui onion.
I gotta try that shit. Oh, bro, you know what else I like? A good honey barbecue shit.
Honey barbecue's banging too.
But not the Lay's is the bottom tier of the honey barbecue. There's some other random ass brands that make a honey barbecue chip that'll blow the Lay's ones out of the fucking water.
Lay's is the OG though. Like they kind of put it on the map. So you gotta like you gotta give them their
Crystal Cop, some like kettle cooked honey barbecue shit from some company I don't even know, and I was like, this is a phenomenal fucking.
But they gotta show like you gotta still show love to Lay's because they were the one that concocted that shit first.
I can't on the honey bar. Yes, the honey barbecue is better than the regular barbecue, and like it's okay. But I'm telling you, this chip is twice as good. The one I'm thinking of.
This shit.
I want to try it, bro. You don't have to sell me
on that shit.
Hey man, I'm willing. Maui onion sounds banging, and the
Sweet,
fact that it's
sweet Maui onion. So it's not even like Maui onion is probably banging,
and the
but the
fact
fact
that
they
it's
put the
in
word sweet in it.
the fact that it's in a purple bag, like I'm all in. Like they made the bag purple, which means they're sort of confident on their shit.
OD, and it's made with like sunflower oil, so it's not even just regular oil. Like this shit isn't as good, but it also is solid too. It's
Dirty potato chips.
yeah. This
I
one's
never
definitely
heard of
not
that.
as good. Get the purple bag, but I'm telling you, you'll eat the whole bag and be like, I need 17 more of
Is
those
that
bitches.
is that just some Midwestern chicks? I've never even seen those.
Nah, they have it at delis. Like I'm telling you. And then
Oh, I
don't
believe you. I believe you. I'll try it. If
Deep
I can
River
find it, I'll
Smash.
try it.
Yeah, banging.
All right, let's wrap this bitch up because I got to take a mean piss.
There's so flan people no, so the reason I brought it up because I put a poll and people put yes to that shit. I thought it was gonna be like 100% no. But people were fucking with flan.
No, because when you put up a poll like that, the naysayers on it are probably not even going to vote on the poll, and only the lovers will come to it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. Is you got all the defenders come out of the woodworks to be like, "This
But I
is my
thought people were
shit."
gonna be like strongly against flan. And that's why I was like, this is gonna be a really good poll because it's gonna be in my favor and be like 80. Like I just needed the reassurance that nobody fucked with flan. And I got the like, we fuck with flan, dog. And I was like, yeah, like there's something off here because you shouldn't be fucking with flan.
Between that and like tiramisu, those are the two desserts that I like. I just don't even know what they fucking taste like.
Tiramisu, yeah, I don't fuck with tiramisu, but I maybe know one person that likes that shit. So I kind of am like, okay, I could see that poll going in favor of like, yeah, we fuck with tiramisu. Flan, I dead ass thought every person on Twitter would vote like no to that shit.
You know what's overrated as fuck? Chocolate pudding pie. You know what that is?
Molly would fight you on that shit because I
Bro,
think she makes one.
Bro,
I think it's a chocolate pudding pie that she makes.
All it is like pudding with some soggy ass graham crackers on it. That's it. That's what chocolate pudding pie is.
Yeah.
It's like it's sort of a fake ass dessert. Like you could just have some pudding, and if you have pudding and just eat it with a normal ass graham cracker, it's better than the soggy ass graham cracker.
Molly's gonna fight you on that take, man, because like every Thanksgiving, her shit is like we gotta buy graham cracker crust. She'll put, I think you put, I don't know if you put the pudding first, and then you put like a
the graham cracker on top of that shit.
Yeah, but
then
there's
some whipped
Cool
cream
Whip.
on that.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip or whipped cream. My mom makes that shit too, and I'm like,
they think they're like Emeril Lagasse in the fucking kitchen
what
when
I'm
they make
saying.
that shit, and I'm like,
bro,
yo,
literally any other
you told me
dessert
the recipe, and I can do this shit.
Any other dessert is more of a dessert. Like it's that's just pudding. Like,
I agree with you 1,000%. Yeah, no, I agree with you. The way she hypes that shit up, like some like, oh, we're going to Thanksgiving, we got to make the fucking chocolate pudding pie. I'm like, no, like we could go to the event, leave the shit, 2 years later come back. No one's asking or giving a shit about that pie.
Whoa, D. It's not.
You're
like,
so right though. It's like, let me scoop a fucking thing of pudding, bite into a graham cracker.
That's better.
And it's better. Crunchier. Yeah, and it's like a better experience.
I mean, come on. It's not like the fact that they call it a pie. It's not a fucking pie. It's just pudding, bro. Like
I know you got to go to the bathroom, but one other shit that is so overrated. It could be like one of the most overrated shits out there. S'mores. You're gonna rock with s'mores?
I'm only 50% with you on that shit, and here's why. Like,
you're right that camping into the experience, maybe it could change.
But you're right that it's overrated. It's definitely overrated because people act like that shit is the best thing ever. They act
we're
like
gonna make s'mores.
They act like it's on the top tier. Like, Crystal's daughter made us this peach turnover some shit peach. I forget what it was. Like a peach cobbler type shit. I forget.
If it was good or not, I would have been like,
it was the best fucking thing I've ever eaten in my life. It was so good. People act like s'mores is on some level like that when it's just more some basic ass shit. My only disagreement is this. If you can get the meltiness just right with the chocolate and the marshmallow and the graham crackers, then it's an enjoyable ass experience to eat one of those shits. But the problem is you're only getting the meltiness right 23% of the time. And other times, you'll fuck it up in one way or another, and you bite into it, and you're like, this is sort of a pain in the ass to eat, and it's too sticky, and it's not really hitting the spot right now.
I think the shit that throws it off, because I think the chocolate and the marshmallow is a bomb-ass but, like, the graham cracker is not even in the same playing field as those other two shits. I know you need some hard shit to
that was going to be my counterpoint, is you need a little bit of the crunchiness to counteract the mushiness.
But do like a vanilla wafer or some shit.
You
know, like, you know how those
started
shits
some shit.
You know, like they come in those packs where the sticks are all stuck together. If you put like 4 of those shits together, and then it's just the graham cracker is too dry and like tastes like some wood shit.
I'm not with you on the wood claim, but you may have just started a brilliant new movement of vanilla wafer s'mores.
Yeah,
that could become a thing. That could become Corin's thing. Like, that might be genius. Like, you may have just started a new dessert.
Yeah, it's just s'mores are whack, and like I was just so thrown off that flan won the fucking vote. Like I dead ass wanted to delete Twitter.
It is true that you got to try it, though, because my reaction is the same as yours, but it's sort of in the Arby's situation where I was shitting on Arby's hard body, and then when I tried it, I was like, you know what? I've been wrong, man. I've been OD wrong.
I just think it needs a name change, because like it needs to be called.
Oh yeah,
like,
the name is whack. You can't call it flan.
Yeah, like call it Flanny or something. Like Flanny sounds better, but flan, that shit just sounds suspect. But I'll give it a try. I saw it in the supermarket, and it made me think like, no one's gonna buy. Like no one's coming here to buy that shit.
Nah, we should both try it and then report back on our experience with that shit.
I'm gonna check it.
All right, bet. All right, guys, we love y'all, and we'll talk to you soon. And we are out. Peace.